To open a report on design, simply go to Presentation and choose Reports by left-clicking. When you left-click, it'll open up your report dialog, and you'll see that there's lots of reports available. Everything from lighting plans and reports to countertop plans, installation, generic contracts that you can modify, a cabinet list, item list, cost cell reports, and the basic quote. Let's go ahead and click on Quote and click OK. When the initial quote dialog opens up, you have the opportunity to make changes to what appears on your quote. If I were to go into report title and type in my company name in front of the word quote, that is what would appear at the top of my page. I can also change the order in which the cabinets print. That's called sort order. Right now it's set up to print wall cabinets first, then base cabinets, then talls. You can click on the arrow and determine whatever order best fits your business. Now, one of the areas that I like to make changes is the nomenclature area. If you click on the arrow next to that, this will determine what actually prints on your report. For instance, if you choose user codes, your basic codes like B15, B30, W3036, those would appear there. What I like to do is actually choose the feature called user code and manufacturer codes, because many manufacturers include their manufacturing codes and user codes in their catalogs. I like to have both on my page as I print. Right now I'm going to choose user code and manufacturer code. Logo path. That's where you would click on a browse button, find your logo on your hard drive, and then your logo could be attached on your quote as well. Right now, the 2020 logo is at the top of your quote, but you can change that right here. You can also turn off things like the date and page numbers, or you can go to pricing tab and tell it to show items even if they don't have prices next to them. Right now, anything that is no charge will show up. If I were to turn that check mark off, any no charge items would not appear in my list. Views. You can attach save views to your quotes simply by using the browse button, and you can also make headers and footers for your pages. Now, if I go back to the general tab, you can save whatever changes you've made here to be defaults for your future plans simply by clicking the Save button at the bottom. Now, if we just made a few changes and they only pertain to the quote that we're working on right now, we would click View and continue on. But I do highly recommend that you take time to set this up to be exactly the way you prefer it to be and click Save. That way, from now on, when you choose reports, all you have to do is bypass this by clicking View and open up the report on your current design. Now, when the report opens, you're going to be looking at page 1. And if you were to go up here where you see the green arrow and 1 of 9, you could scroll through your list of all the items that happen to be in our plan. Here's a list of our cabinets, including user code, manufacturing code, and all of the list prices. If I scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see your totals, including any premiums, finish sides, finishes, and so forth. Now, as you're going through, this looks like a lot of pages. I actually have left everything on, including items that are not part of my quote. For instance, this window shade, I use this for presentation purposes only. If I would have turned the check mark off next to the area where it said to show items that do not have prices, this would have eliminated this, thus making my report shorter. Now, there's other ways to view your report. If you move over here to the left-hand side, there's a little box right here called Multiple Page View. If I click on the arrow next to that, I can choose the second icon and say, look at 2 pages at a time. Or I could have clicked on this and said, let's look at 3 pages at a time. I like to work with 2 pages at a time. It gives me a forward and a previous view as I'm working. If you move all the way to the left, you have a button for printing, and then we have your standard copies and paste. Now, all the way to the right-hand side is a feature that I really like to use. It's called Export. If you left-click on Export, you'll see that you have the ability to send your report to a text file, an Excel file, a PDF, an HTML, RTF, TIFF, CSV, and TSV. Oftentimes, you can export the data from your 2020 and then load it into one of your other systems, whether it's your manufacturer's order entry system or other systems you're using in-house. You can simply click on a form like CSV, click Export, and it will export your form to a CSV output. The final feature that you see in the list is Close, and that's how we close our report.